All right, no time to explain gang. Welcome back, King Zeph here, back with another video for you guys. I'm knocking over my microphone because it's late at night, and I have a rant. So, happy Friday, and to all the Pokemon trainers and the Pokemon collectors, good luck today. I believe today is the release date for Journey Together, which, ironically speaking, is going to be the main topic of this video per se. I actually haven't done one of these conversations with you guys in quite a long time. The last video I think I was talking about this type of stuff and this type of topic wasn't Pokemon related, but what we're going to talk about in just a couple minutes was when Chapter 1 of Lorcana dropped. What was that, 2 years ago now? I think it's, I mean, like, well, no, the game will be officially 2 years old in August, so about a year and a half ago. So we're approaching that 2 year mark. But I've, in the midst of me trying to, find more content to provide you guys and listening to some of you guys in the comments, and then also trying to, let Dex Plow just get in my ear and persuade me to do things. Because to be fair, Dex and I, ever since we did our video with our pack battle for the Megatons, he and I talk on the side a lot. I've give him some advice. I give him some tips and tricks and certain cards and certain packs to purchase and everything like that. And then he also got me back into Pokemon. He got me into playing Pokemon TCG Pocket, which I was kind of happily retired from Pokemon for the most part, for the exception of, like, the core games, which I really collect at this point. I haven't even played Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet. I have them. They're sitting on my shelf to my right. But I actually haven't played them because, to be honest, of all the other games that I play and other things that I do and time I put to other projects, I just don't have the time to play Pokemon. I really just don't. I would love to be able to just, play video games all the time and just have all the time in order to do such a things, but unfortunately I do not. And I'm fine with that at the same time, but I have the games, I just never played them. So he opens up a lot more Pokemon than I do, and so he generally finds a lot more stuff in Target. So some peer pressure, he and I have been chatting. We also have a couple episodes of our podcast. We haven't talked about Pokemon stuff yet, and just because it's late at night, I'm just drawing a blank because it's been like a month since we recorded an episode. We probably should get back to doing that, but getting back on the sidebar. So yeah, he's been trying to get me to at least attempt to do some Pokemon stuff, and I haven't touched a Pokemon card I've touched a card in a long time. I haven't touched packs of Pokemon cards since the first two sets, since the original base set and the fossil set. So back essentially in when the TCG first was a thing, when I was like 8, 9 years old. That was as far as the collecting went. I went to basically Gen 2 of Pokemon, transitioned into Digimon, and then from Digimon to Yu-Gi-Oh! No, the joys of a 90s baby. You kind of just evolve stuff. Now, of course, the Pokemon games I stuck with till adulthood. Like, I played pretty much every single Pokemon game up until a DS, because I never owned a Nintendo DS. By that point in time, I was like a PSP, PS Vita gang person, so I really didn't care about Nintendo consoles so much as I got older because I was so dependent on Xbox and PlayStation. But so yeah, I haven't touched any Pokemon cards at all, so I have no idea how the sets work. I have no about all the crazy rares and a bunch of other stuff. I've kind of just been looking into a distance and seeing like reels and videos and everything in between on that side. So I figured maybe, and then a couple of you guys in the comments have asked me, have I gotten into Pokemon or have I attempted to open Pokemon, in which case I've generally said no. So I was like, you know what, maybe take some advice from some of you guys, let Dex win one for a chance and see if I could like it and try to get into Pokemon. So of course, naturally I go to look for Pokemon stuff, and then of course I go online to see the madness that is a Pokemon collector's nightmare, and to much of your guys' dismay. And I really feel bad for you guys. I really do, because this is the same type of stuff that happened with Lacana, but this is also the type of stuff that happens in Magic the Gathering, and this actually makes collecting not fun, of just the degree of which you can't get product because it's just being gobbled up so fast, whether it's from bots, scalpers, or whatever. And then the product that you can get is at market price. Like, it's absolutely freaking insane. And I consistently see videos and reels of, like, the second a Target drop restock comes in, you got the armies of people like grabbing the entire shelf and trying to purchase, or even the Pokemon vending machines, which I didn't even know existed. Those things are amazing. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually an ingenious strategy from Pokemon, and really cool that they kind of have those sprinkled out on random places. But they have the vending machines where people are like, oh, there's a 2 item limit, but it's not really enforced because people just basically empty out the machine in one go, or they'll do the 2 limit and then start another transaction and a bunch of other stuff. And you have grown adults fighting over Pokemon, and really this is just killing the hobby at the end of the day. There are children that want to play the game and collect the cards. They're adults that want to collect the cards and and most of all play. And I'm a big person on not just collecting TCG stuff, but to the games I actually like, I do play. Like I play Yu-Gi-Oh! I play Lorcana. I like those are games I actually like to play outside of the collecting part of it. And I don't even collect the cards to a certain degree. I collect certain aspects or certain cards. So for Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, I'm collecting mostly like cards I care about, and QCR is currently Lorcana. I kind of am doing a full set holo collection. So basically one of each card in its foil. But for the most part, every other card that I purchase is generally for use for playing. So for me on that side, it's like if I can't even like properly buy packs to not only open for you guys potentially, but also to play, it kind of defeats the purpose and kind of kills the need for me to want to even bother dealing with that. And yes, I do get for the competitive part of it or playing, you can just buy the singles. Buying singles is just honestly right now the only real way to get cards. But I also enjoy the rush of pulling a chase card or a really nice card out of booster packs. I do it with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Lorcana all the time. As you guys clearly see on the channel, this is predominantly Yu-Gi-Oh! Related. We open up pretty much every set as it drops, Dual Blister versus boosters and a bunch of other stuff. So we kind of just gauge to see what we pull and all of the stuff. So it would be fun and would be nice for me to potentially do a couple Pokemon sets. I don't really like with how expensive it is. It makes it that much more difficult, but it's I hate the idea of the fact that like everybody has to pay either scalpers or pay market price at their LGSs for product on that side. And just for example, in case some of you guys are unaware, I know a lot of you probably are who are actually in the Pokemon community. But for those that aren't in the Pokemon community, and I'm pretty sure that you guys have seen on your social media reels of just random fights and a bunch of other stuff and people screaming in the comment sections, scalpers and all that other stuff. And I don't like scalping, but it's a very complicated situation and it gets deeper than that. But let me just show you a couple things just before I go in this full detail rant because I've already been chatting long enough. So as we go over to my second screen. Okay, so this is the Pokemon Center website. So essentially this is the main main source to get Pokemon stuff is their main website. Clearly, as you can see here, everything, which is Journey Together, which is the set that comes out today. It's been out in the LGSs for about a week, if my memory remember correctly. I think they did the pre-release 2 weeks ago, and I think some LGSs are selling it as of like beginning of this week or late last week or whatever. But essentially, I believe the set fully drops tomorrow, where you can buy it pretty much anywhere Pokemon cards are sold. But just for an example, let's say all of them are sold out. Like it's probably going to be permanently sold out forever in a day. But I really came here just to really look at prices of things because that was one of my biggest discrepancies when I was looking online. Because one of my local stores, my backup local stores, not my main one. So in case you guys don't know, going off to another sidebar, I live in the South Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. My main local card shop I go to is called By the Board. It's in Lowell, Indiana. Great store, great community, great people there. I love that store. They do everything they can to facilitate the customers, best help the communities, and everything in between. Absolutely love those guys. If I do essentially like 95% of my LGS business there. If they carry that card game or they carry that product, I go there first and foremost. The only thing that'll deter me from going there is a lot of cases when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Sometimes they don't get their shipments on the Wednesday that it drops, and it may come on Thursday or it may come on Friday. And I have a backup store that generally always gets it on release day, so that way I can get the box that day, so I can get the video done within that 24 to 48 hour time span. So sometimes I go away from them, but generally when they do pre-releases, when we do the early access stuff, I always go there because that's my local store. I play there. I know the guys there. I buy all my stuff from there. So I haven't even, essentially one of the employees, he and I were talking about Pokemon stuff, and I didn't even bother asking about inventory and all of those stuff because I just knew he complains about it just as much as a lot of other people do. And as I've come to learn on that side, but, my secondary local store posted, Tuesday, that they got essentially the new set of Pokemon in. And they were just like, hey, come get it quick because, of course, it's going to sell out. So when I got off work, I stopped by the store. They didn't have a whole lot of things. So I did pick up an ETB. I'm going to open it on the channel. You'll probably see that video tomorrow or Monday. But this depends on my vibe and if I'm aware enough to do the opening or whatever on this episode. You'll see that opening very soon. I will actually be opening some Pokemon product on this channel for the very first time. And that might be the first and last time that happens. It just depends on how the whole thing goes. But of course, I got there. The issue I have with my secondary local store, I'm not going to name drop them. I really just don't want to disparage them. Well, I could, but I'm just not going to bother wasting my time with that because they're doing the same thing that most other LGSs are doing, which is selling for the most part at market. So of course, I get there. They have all the product available. So they have the booster box, they have the ETB, they had the booster bundles, and they had the blisters. I asked, of course, how much are you selling all the Pokemon stuff for? So for reference, a booster box, which I don't even know how many packs come in a booster box. Is it 24 or is it 36? Let me check. 36. Yeah, booster box is 36 cards. So I didn't know if it was 24 or 36. I could have sworn it was 36, but I couldn't remember. So going back to this, 36 packs in a booster box. MSRP sold on Pokemon's website is $161.64. So you can pretty much say $162. They were charging $280 for this exact same booster box. Brand new, set just dropped, and everything else in between. ETB is supposed to be $59.99. They were selling it for $100. And then, of course, there's the booster pack bundle, which comes with 6 booster packs in it, which, like, this is $27, which I'm assuming 27, 6 times 4.5. Pretty much, yeah. So it comes out, basically the booster bundle boxes come out to the price of a blister pack. A blister pack is supposed to be $4.49, which ironically is the exact same price as Yu-Gi-Oh! It costs the same for a booster pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now the booster boxes are a little bit cheaper, but you get 12 more packs. So realistically speaking, I guess I can call it's around the same price as Yu-Gi-Oh! Not in its entirety, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't sell generally at MSRP because Yu-Gi-Oh! Players just refuse to pay that, which is something that Pokemon players should probably start adapting. They won't win that one, but at least they'll probably be able to get the prices down on certain things. But they were selling this $27 booster box for $90. So essentially all at market price. Even so, if we go over and hop over to TCG Player, it's pretty much the same, if not just as bad. Well, the difference here, so of course a booster pack for the ETBs is going for about $9 a pack. The booster box is going for the average price of $245, so close to what that store was charging for. The Elite Trainer box is going for $85. This fit $14.99 price, I'm pretty positive, is for an empty box. I can just click on it and double check, because you have to be careful with TCG Player, because sometimes they do that whole thing where they post it up. So $14.99 with $5.99 shipping, empty storage box, no packs, no sleeves, no promo. So literally you're just paying $15 for the empty box. Be careful with TCG Player. Sometimes don't let that lowest price fool you, because that lowest price is sometimes either, the Japanese version, which can be cheaper, or it's like, hey, this is just like the empty blister pack and all that other stuff that goes with that one. And then, of course, the booster bundle, which is selling for $50, which is not as bad as selling for double the MSRP, but it's still awful. Sleeve booster packs are starting at around $10. And then the enhanced booster packs, which comes with the additional promo card, is pretty much going for the exact same price. I'm surprised this is actually cheaper. The enhanced booster box, which comes with that promo card in the box, is actually $20 cheaper than getting the standard booster box. But regardless, everything's at market price. And the biggest disappointing fact is that LGSs are selling at market price as well. So before we go into the whole like scalpers being scalped and that whole argument, because I hear you guys, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. LGSs, to their defense, I'm going to give them just a little bit of rope. LGSs don't make a lot of money off selling the trading cards at their normal MSRP price. They do make a profit as long as they're getting it from the proper vendors and proper distributors. So they are making money by selling them as they are and handling the tournament scene and everything like that. But the main problem is that distributors are actually not allocating enough supply to LGSs. There's a conspiracy going on right now where MJ Holdings, which is a major vendor, I think it's like the #1 Pokemon vendor in the country, and they, for the most part, they handle stocking Walmart, Target, I believe Meijer. They are pretty much the main supplier and distributor for like most of your big box locations that they have to sell at MSRP because they have to cut on the price on that one. They have a third-party marketplace on Walmart where they get to sell at market price. So they're basically getting all the product at the lowest rate and then quadrupling their profits by using marketplaces and a couple other things. And then you also have the random sets of streamers, whether it's Whatnot streamers or whatever. I don't know how they're doing that, where I saw a video where a guy that had like 200 ETBs. He got like 50 cases of ETBs from a distributor. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how they got that done, because I know a lot of distributors require certain brick and mortars and certain licenses, and they're not the very nicest of individuals to work with. But somehow, some way, some of these people are getting that. But at the end of the day, distributors are not getting enough product to LGSs, which means LGSs have to survive on the very limited stock that they're getting to basically ensure that people are coming into the store, playing, and still purchasing cards while also maintaining their profits. It's very difficult to sit back and say, hey, we got 2 cases of Pokemon in, and then it's sold out. And that's the only 2 cases you got for 3 to 6 months. And by that time, the next set's getting ready to come out. So you have to basically survive 3 months with 0 product and everything else in between. So a lot of stores, of course, in lieu of making sure they're keeping their money, they're selling it at market pricing, which is, it's a shame and it sucks. So on one side, people can sit back and say, oh, I'm being ripped off by these LGSs. Some are doing that because they can. Like, some LGSs are legitimately doing it. And I've seen this in Lorcana, where they didn't have to, but they chose to sell at market price because they just wanted to pocket the extra money. And there was distribution issues with the first 2 sets of Lorcana because the demand was just ridiculously high. So I understood that. And there's still LGSs that do this to the very day, even though the supply issue for the most part has been taken care of. There hasn't been a moment since set 3 or 4 of Lorcana up until now that I haven't been able to go into any store, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, or whatever, and not see Lorcana on the shelves, including my LGSs. There may be a couple instances because of tournaments and the league stuff and the challenge, the set championships, that they may run low on a particular inventory, and that's just because you have a large volume of players coming in and they give the promo packs and all that other stuff. So in that situation, that's one thing. But outside of those particular events, there's not a moment in time now that I can go into an LGS and say, hey, I want to buy a booster box Lorcana, and it's not a problem. But in Pokemon, they're doing the exact same thing. And they do it in Magic the Gathering too. Magic is a little weirder. My best friend plays Magic, and I like to play Magic occasionally, but I just can't collect it because that's stupid high at the same time. So it leaves a lot of players with a bad taste in their mouths because, of course, they're seeing the scalpers, they're seeing the market price, they're seeing stuff going up. They can't get product, they can't buy anything. They go to locations where they can get stuff, and even GameStop is selling at market price for the most part. Now, I think GameStop is implementing something to try to not do that by only allowing, I think their new policy is that they're only allowing purchases to be done in store and not online, and they set limits to how much you can purchase in store, which is, in my opinion, the best way to handle it. At the end of the day, setting limits will just ensure more people are satisfied. Now, of course, people will rig the system and bring their significant others and their friends, because they generally do it like per person. Some places do it per household. My LGS does it per household, so they verify addresses and everything. So it's just like, hey, you can't just have you and your significant other be in line and you get 2 and she gets 2. Like, no, it's 2 or 1 per household. Until they have enough inventory to not have to worry about setting limits. That's stuff that can be done on the front end, which I don't know why a lot of other online retailers and everything don't. Well, the online retailers do it, but then they have bots that kind of break that. And some retailers do actual checks, some don't. I've heard that the Pokemon Center has been doing those checks. I know Hobbyville, which is one of the affiliate links that that I endorse and recommend on the channel too. They do limits and everything, but there's a situation even worse because they're hit with tariffs too. So now, not only are they selling cards at market price, they're also having an upcharge because they have to deal with tariffs because they're in Canada. And so I don't know if the tariff is just a matter of shipping it to the United States of America, or is it a matter of just getting product in its entirety, because the product, of course, I know the Pokemon company isn't an American company. I don't know exactly where everything is coming from, but they've been hit with the tariff situation. So even like my main online retailer, a place that I recommend all of you guys go do your business with, just because they have great promotions, they don't charge sales tax and a bunch of other stuff, they're getting hit with tariffs, so their prices are going up. It's just a hot mess. So what really is the solution here at the end of the day? Like, how do we really fix, or how do you guys in the community really fix this major issue? My recommendation is, first and foremost, and I said the same thing with Lorcana, and that still holds true to this very day, let the scalpers win. Just let them win. And by letting them win, let them buy up all the product. Let them use their bots. Let them go to the vending machines. Let them clear out the inventory, and just don't buy it. Speak with your wallets. If you don't purchase the product, or you don't set a precedent where you're just like, I'm going to pay the price I'm supposed to pay for this product. If that ETB is $60, if you're not getting it for $60, don't buy it. Now, I get a slight markup. Like you said, if you go into a card store and say, hey, I want this ETB, and they're charging like $70, that $10 difference, although it is higher, I can understand that and I can let that go because you're going to pay that in sales taxes and probably on something else on that side. A small markup, I can understand. I still don't endorse it, but at least it's a little bit more reasonable than sitting there saying, oh, the $60 product is now $100 or $120 or $150. That's where that gets absurd. So a slight markup, like a 10% or 15% markup, sure, whatever. It's a local card shop. Support them as best you can. They have margins and everything they have to meet, and they have to deal with all this nonsense on the other side. But outside of that, don't buy it. Just simply save your money. Purchase the singles if you're purchasing for competitive play. If you're trying to purchase to be like me or like a lot of other people to just have the joy of opening products or even doing a YouTube channel, just save your money and don't do it and let them win. The reason I say let them win is because at some point in time, they have to move that product. If you let scalpers eat up all the inventory and you don't purchase from scalpers and don't pay that market price, at some point in time, for them to recoup their money back, they're going to have to reduce the prices and try to offload a lot of stuff. They tried to do the scalping with the PlayStation 5 Pro, even though like the PlayStation 5s during COVID was like the money making machine because people were selling them for like $700-800 or $1,000, which is wild to me because people were complaining about the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro is a $750 console and how expensive it is. Meanwhile, those are the same people that were willingly paying $900 to get a PS5 during COVID. You know, the hypocrisy of that one. But people during the PS5 Pro launch, they tried to scalp those systems and they quickly backfired because nobody wanted to. Well, first and foremost, there wasn't some place you could just walk into the store and pick up a PlayStation 5 Pro first and foremost. And second of all, people were already complaining the fact they'd spent $750 plus the disk drive for the system, that the only people that bought it were gaming enthusiasts, that people who cared about the FPS and the uplift and the performance. So the scalpers tried to buy a bunch of them and be like, oh, I'm going to sell this for $1,000, and quickly realized they weren't moving because nobody was going to pay more than $750 for the system. They ended up reducing their price to $750 to at least make their money back, or however way they were going to do it, just to offload it and get it taken care of. Point being, just like graphics cards and everything else, let them buy up the product and just let it sit. Now, with TCGs, I get letting it sit sometimes isn't the brightest idea because sometimes set prices will increase, as time passes. It's like a good set or there's valuable cards in there that, eventually the set price will either go up and that may backfire on the long term. But you're doing it not so much to like lose out on getting cards. You're doing it to set a precedent. That's the biggest thing of them all. Some people are going to crack open the packs and try to get their chase cards and get them graded and then sell them for double the price. That's a whole different situation. That's collector's market, because I know a lot of collectors. Grading is great for one, upping the value of your cards, but also for the collector's sake of making sure that your card stays in great mint condition, and thus ends the argument of whether a card's condition is not good or that's the collector's realm for people that care about graded cards and keeping their cards that are valuable encapsulated and all that other stuff. So they're going to do that whole thing, but seriously, let's let the bots and scalpers win. Next, support your LGSs that are actually doing everything in their power to ensure that you can get product. Support your stores that not only are going to sell at MSRP, or even if they have to sell at a slight markup, let them sell at a slight markup, but are also facilitating ways to ensure that as many people can get product as possible. Stores can set limits. They can sit back and go, you know what? You can only buy one of each SKU or two of each SKU. They can facilitate that depending on how much product they're getting and all that other stuff in between. They can do that. Let them do that. That's the best way to allow as many people and many customers to come into the store, purchase a product, and leave out happy customers. Another good thing that they do, one thing that I love, I don't mean to boast and brag about my LGS, but I love my LGS does this. When it comes to new set releases, because they're starting to do this with Destined Rivals now, which is the Team Rocket set, which actually kind of looks pretty dope. I looked at it from the outside looking in. It looks pretty cool. I might try to get my hands on that one. We'll see how this whole thing goes. I'm not going to hold my breath and scratch my fingers because that pre-order system has pretty much been tanked and sold out through as well. And people are getting upset because their orders are being canceled because they just either oversold or whatever's going on that side. I'm not going to bother with it. But My LGS specifically, they don't take pre-orders until approximately 2 to 3 weeks prior to the set release, because they wait to actually see what their allocation is going to be before they start selling the product. Another big thing that ends up happening is that a lot of stores will do is that they'll take pre-orders, or even Pokemon just did it recently with Destined Rivals, where they took in the pre-orders, they had their limits and everything in between, and the next thing you know, a lot of people, thousands, hundreds of people are getting cancellation emails because they just can't fulfill those orders, which is weird for Pokemon Center to do, because you have a direct inventory line to say, hey, you have 10,000 people that order this product. You should probably ramp up production so that we can fulfill all the orders, and you're shopping directly from them. So I don't know why that's like a big deal. It's like, oh, we oversold inventory, we have to cancel them. That's really stupid to me, because then at that point, I should tell you that, hey, demand for this is stupid high. You should probably keep the printers going for the card stock and other stuff in between. But for the LGSs in particularly, there's a lot of LGSs that'll do the pre-orders early, and then they'll end up having to cancel it because they find out that they're not getting allocation that they were expecting, and thus have to cancel those pre-orders, and thus leave people with sour taste in their mouth and bad customer service at the end of the day. Do not do pre-orders until you know exactly how much product you are allocated to get. That way you can gauge your interest. You can know exactly, hey, we only got 4 cases. So we're going to put a 1 booster box limit per household. We can only sell to, I don't even know how many booster boxes come in a case. I think 5 or 6. Let's just say 6. So if you got 6 booster boxes in a case and you only got 5 cases, you can only sell 30 booster boxes. So you only have 30 pre-orders essentially, which allows you to set 1 per household. Do stuff like that, or however way you got to do it, where you got to set 1 case aside for tournament play. Like I said, the logistics of all that other stuff, stores and everything can figure that itself out on that side. But figure out and don't do things until you actually have a finite amount to make as many people happy. But from a consumer standpoint, just use your best judgment and speak with your wallet. Don't buy it. If I get that you want it, if you have money burning a hole in your pocket, I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. If you got it like that and you just want to spend it, more power to you. Do you? I'm not going to whine and complain and just sit back and say, oh, if you wanted it that bad and you want to spend the money, go ahead and do it. I'm speaking for the general consumer, the ordinary collector, the person that's looking for product and not trying to go bankrupt to get it. Just speak with your wallet and just don't bother with it. At some point in time, if enough people just don't purchase it, or it gets eaten up by the scalpers, and enough people will sit back and say, I'm not going to allow you to charge me these outrageous prices for things, the prices will come down, and or the companies will start hearing you and starting to fix those issues. Distributors are the card shop's worst enemies in this situation, outside of the bots and scalpers. So you just have to be more diligent and actually understand what type of LGS that you're working with. If you have a good working relationship and a good relationship with your LGS, like I have one with mine, then you get full transparency and you kind of know how the whole system works, what's going to happen, and everything else in between with that one. So, like I said, I feel bad for you guys because this is just reminiscent of Lorcana Chapter 1. And I would love for as many people to be able to get their hands on product. And what made me happy earlier today is I did see a reel of I think a GameStop drop, or somebody had a drop. The person was allowed to get 2 of a SKU. I think he was going to get the last 2 items. He gave his second item. He says, hey, I know I can get 2. I'm getting 1. I'm going to let this person behind me get the other person. And it was this girl that had a very rare brain disease or disability. She's one of 100 kids. And what she liked to do was crack open Pokemon for her fun and for her hobby. And he sat back and look, I didn't need to get 2. I'm I love to collect 2. I would have liked to get 2, but I would rather put a smile on someone else's face than be greedy. And I did that with Lorcana. I was able to get a hand on a lot of product because I was just monitoring when the Target restocks were happening. So I was able to get as much product to open for the channel. And I ended up giving most of it away. I bought 1 or 2 extra trolls, a bunch of blister packs, decks, and everything in between. And because it was such a shit show, I did I think when we hit 500 subscribers, I think is when we did that giveaway. We did a very big giveaway. It was about a year ago. I can't remember exactly when it happened. And the videos on the channel, you guys can go back and listen to that rant and see when that whole thing was taken care of and done. I might have hid the videos because I might have hid them because I don't want new subscribers to think that there's a giveaway going on that's not going on anymore. So I might have hid some of those videos, but I remember just going there and I had product ready to open on the channel and all this other stuff. And I said, you know what? As a reward to my subscribers, and I like to try to continue to do stuff like that. So, of course, if you're new to the channel and listening to me rant and have enjoyed my dialogue, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for when we drop new videos. Also, we just did the giveaway winners for the Blue Eye Structure decks was posted earlier today, too. I just completely forgot about that one. That's in the community tab. So, for those that won, follow the instructions on the post and hit me up so I can get that shipped to you as soon as I possibly can. But I do like to give giveaways to you guys and try to hook you guys up with stuff if I possibly can do it. I'm not a big YouTuber yet. I'm trying to work my way to, being having a bigger presence, having more viewerships, having monetization. So not only I can do more openings for you guys, I can also do more giveaways to you guys and give back to you guys for showing so much love to myself and the rest of the group who is MIA a lot because, we started off as a podcast and then I started taking over and then IB Friction kind of popped in here and there, but all that logistical stuff aside, I would love to be able to hey, grab another ETB or something like that and give it away to one of you guys on the channel. And if I can put my hands on one at MSRP and a decent price, I don't foreshadowing if I can somehow get my hands on some Pokemon product reasonably and soon, there will be a giveaway for Pokemon stuff. I'm telling you that right now. And I'm not even going to just allude to it. I was like, oh, it might. No, it's going to happen because that's just the type of person I am. And due to the circumstances, that's just what I would want to do. So if I can't get my hands on some Pokemon product at a reasonable price, then be on the lookout for a giveaway for that whenever that comes. Don't hold your breath on that one because I'm just like you guys. I'm only going to find product if I'm lucky. And I work, so I don't have time to camp out at my Target and wait for the restock person to come by and do all that other fun stuff and no life things. I'm just like you guys. I don't have a life like that. So I have to work. I have responsibilities just like everybody else does. So if I get lucky, I get lucky. If I don't, it is what it is. So yeah, I feel bad for you guys. I really do. And I hope things change. But the only way things are going to change is if the overwhelming community takes a stand and does something about it, because complaining about it online doesn't solve the problem. And you're just going to be gaslighting a lot of posts because you have a lot of online trolls and then you have a lot of scalpers sitting there going, oh, it's the economy. It's, supply and demand and all this other stuff. It's like, well, no, it's rigged supply and demand because you're doing the shit on purpose. But that's a whole nother rant for another story. But in the meantime, like I said, if you enjoyed this rant or if you had any connection to this or feel what I'm talking about, please leave a like, please give a comment, tell me your story. We can even get on a chat and do a future video together. And if you want to tell me how that whole thing goes or tell me your experiences with dealing with exclusivity in the TCG space and not being able to get product and all that other stuff, I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to get some of your advice and see more stuff that you guys want to talk about. And yeah, so today was a launch day. Good luck to you guys. I'm rooting for you. I hope you don't have to deal with nonsense and BS and just save as much money as you possibly can. And if there's something that I can do to better the community and better help you guys out as much as I possibly can, I will do so. I will continue to be a voice and give this message out to as many of you as humanly possible and try to give the best advices I can to help you guys out. But yeah, so thanks for listening to my rant. It's been long. I know I've been talking for forever and probably going on side tangents, but any questions for me, leave them in the comments. Tell me your stories. Tell me what you're thinking. And see you guys soon. Maybe Dex will come back soon because I know we're probably going to talk about it with him and see how he's feeling about this whole situation. But this is King Zeph. No time to explain. Till next time. I guess the next video will be the ETB opening. We'll see how that whole thing goes, and we'll see if we get anything good out of it, I guess. But check it out. Giveaway winners. Hit me up so that way I can get your deck sent out to you, and then be on the lookout for future videos, future openings. I know there's another Stampede is coming out very soon for Yu-Gi-Oh! Another core set's coming out for that. I still haven't done any Lorcana openings, and whatever else comes down in between. So be on the lookout for content. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you guys. Till next time. Good night. Peace.